Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good. This is so exciting. We get to do this in person today. He has been on this show a bunch of times over the years, but you know him and you love him. He is truly a professor of the Housewives. His writing is bar none one of the most talented writers that I've read. People like him actually give respect to the genre that we so love. Of course, the genre is Bravo and reality television. Not only is he part of the created the Housewives Institute on Vulture, which we are going to put a link so you can sign up because it'll deliver a newsletter to your inbox. It's going to provide you all the up-to-date information. But he also has this new article that just came out in Inc. and it's entitled How Bravo Became the New QVC. And this thing from the beginning to the end is fascinating. You will love this article. We'll talk a little bit about it, but it's imperative you go read this. So, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Brian Moylan.
Hey, Ryan Bailey. I love being in the same room with you so we can prove to the world that we are two separate people.
Well, a lot of people at one BravoCon or two BravoCons have confused us, and I think I'm like 75, 80 pounds heavier than Brian. So it must be so offensive for you. Well, I realized one time somebody was like, I love your writing. And that's when I realized, like, oh, I don't think this is about me.
No, if people are like, oh, I love your podcast, I'm like, you think I'm Ryan Bailey. And so at this BravoCon, there was a woman who was like, oh my God, I'm friends with so-and-so, someone I don't know. Like, let's take a picture and send it to him. And I stopped like correcting people. I just like go along with the fantasy. And I'm like, great. And so I like took a picture. And then the next day, she's like, oh my God, I sent the picture to my friend and it wasn't you. And I'm like, lady, it's like me 2 days in a row. What is wrong with you?
No, I mean, that's what I was like, because I've always wanted to be a writer, but I was like, yeah, I guess my Instagram posts or pith. I was like, yeah, there's a certain poetic. And then I was like, no, there's just no way.
Right.
Because by the way, Brian wrote one of my favorite book on the Housewives, the real story behind the Real Housewives. What was it? It's like 2018?
No, it's 2021.
2021. But this book you need on your bookshelf because it and you did this without any like full permission, right?
No, I did that. Yeah, with the exact opposite. Bravo was not happy. So I was banned from the first BravoCon when I was working on the book.
Which is wild because I feel like you're so accepted by them now, right?
Yes, I'm on good terms now. So when I was working on the book, they weren't happy about it. And so they banned me from the first BravoCon and like wouldn't even give me a press pass. So I bought a ticket. And I went in disguise. I like shaved my mustache and wore a hat so no one recognized me. But yeah,
you shaved your mustache.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like my most identifying feature. And yeah,
but if you read the book, I mean, it's not. I would love the book if I was Bravo. I would think, right?
Yes, and so I think they were worried about what might be in it, or that I was trying to they'll have those specials like the dark side of reality television or like whatever. But like I love Bravo. I love these shows. Like it's how I make my living. And so, I want to tell the truth and talk about how they're really made and some things that probably Bravo doesn't want out there. But
sure.
But
aren't we all
fan.
like a savvy enough audience and grown up enough to realize or start to realize how these shows are put together more and more? And then I know, because I'll even interview Bravo celebrities and they'll be like, oh, you got to cut this, you got to cut that, because it reveals, like if you talk about production in any way, they don't want that. But it's like, we realize that there's cameras pointed on these people at this point. And we love actually now those Bravo effing Bravo moments.
Yes. And I think that we've seen the fourth wall come like down more and more, but I think that we're starting to see like on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, where it's about being on a reality show and they're talking about filming and press days and whatever.
And it's working for that show right now.
But I question how long we're going to be, like as a person who loves the reality television arts and sciences, like I'm fascinated by that aspect of the show. But yeah, so I think that Bravo wants to keep the mystery a little bit, which I understand. But also I think that if the fans want to know, we should let them know.
And then we go about trying to find out in the wrong ways.
Yes.
Right.
No,
exactly.
Then
we're like Reddit detectives.
Yes.
Where there's like nobody's verifying any information at all.
Yeah.
So this article, which I really was in love with, just because as a Bravo fan, there was so much information in here. And it's really about the Housewives and Bravo shows being like a startup incubator. And so many products, as you guys know, are sold through Bravo now.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why you kind of want to be cast on this show.
Yeah.
To be able to sell some sort of your merch and your goods and sundries.
Yeah. And I think that we focus on people who have started their own products as opposed to like the influencers, like people doing brand deals. And, there are also a lot of people who license their names out to things, and kind of like Ramona Pinot Grigio just kind of slaps her name on somebody else's wine.
She doesn't do that anymore, though, right?
She doesn't do that anymore.
I've been trying to track down a bottle of the Pinot Grigio for my wine collection for years. And there was one in Connecticut somebody showed me, but they would not ship it to me. And I was like, what do I just take a trip to Connecticut to get this? It was like Indiana Jones. It's like my holy grail.
Yeah, because that was part of the problem is you could never find it. And I bought 2 at a silent auction. So I paid like $100 for 2 bottles of Ramona's
silent
Pinot
auction
Grigio.
are you at where Ramona's Pinot Grigio is on the...
No, it was when I lived in New York City. So it was something in New York, and Ramona's Pinot Grigio was there. But it was kind of like a hard to find Ramona's Pinot Grigio. Yeah, but like Sonia still makes a Sonia Sangria, and that's kind of like she like lends her name to it, and based on how much you sell, you get. And that can be like very lucrative, and it still is for a lot of people. But yeah, so we were talking about the people who are using the shows and like how you use the show well, how you use the show badly, like what you need to do to be really successful at launching these businesses on reality television.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Sonia real quickly, too, is that I think it's even mentioned in here about Sonia's microwave, the toaster oven, right? The toaster oven, where obviously that didn't come to fruition. But I always said, like, why doesn't Sonia just sell the box? I would just buy the box.
Or the poster.
I don't need anything in there. I just I want that image that's so emblazoned into my memory that you don't even need the product. I just want the box. And that really says something about the fandom.
Yes.
Where we love actual real products, but we do love a kitschy element to it as well.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the great things about the fandom outside of all this is you have the stuff on shopbybravo.com, which is like, make it nice socks or whatever. But you have so many great things on Etsy or like other places that like fans just make because they love it. And I think that it just shows that no matter how many products there are, we're really underserved, because I think like a lot of people don't take our fandom quite that seriously, where there's as much like WWE merch as you could possibly find, and it's like available in Target, but like anything Housewives.
That's what I was like, I was like, man, at some point Target's got to do a licensing deal with Bravo.
Right.
Because I go to their I guess their men's t-shirt section, which you even make a point, 25% to 30% the audience are men, and most of those are gay men.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, if they had Real Housewives of Beverly Hills shirts in the men's section, because they have every album, or like those little pop figurines. Like, why doesn't the Housewives license to those?
Exactly. I mean, that's a very good question. I don't know the answer to.
What I found great about this, depending on how you feel about Kyle Cook, or it really doesn't even matter what you feel about Kyle Cook, it really takes you into the Lion's Den on Loverboy.
Yes.
And you really take us through the process, which you have to admit, no matter how you feel about Kyle 10 seasons in on the show, this guy seems to have done this the right way.
Yes. And it's really interesting. I talk about this in the article, is Kyle has this kind of like dual personality where one is like this man-child who's a DJ who won't grow up, and the other thing is a workaholic. And those two things seem kind of like diametrically opposed to each other. But he really has built this thing from the ground up. And I think that we approached dozens and dozens of housewives, everyone on Bravo, and saying like, here's the article we're doing, this is what we're going to need from you, and saying we're going to need, it's a business magazine, we need real financial figures. And Kyle was like, whatever you want, really open the doors.
He's gotten seed funding, and even you have one of the initial seed funders who's like a very big wig in these kind of companies, saying Kyle has done this the right way. I have made my money back. He has done this wisely the whole way through.
And that investor is actually Elise Slane's nephew from Real Housewives of New York.
I used to joke about Elise in that one season because I was like, maybe she's a ghost because nobody talks to her. She just shows up in scenes. But Elise, that was why. But this guy seemed very happy with how Kyle has presented himself. And you even make this point that, he even said on Summer House, I think last season, if somebody wants to donate $20 or put in $25,000, you can invest in Loverboy. Did you walk away from this article, if you had the money, would you donate in Loverboy? I mean, not donate, would you fund?
Absolutely. And I also I talked to Carl Radke about Soft Bar, and he got so much attention from fans that he went to a crowdfunding kind of site for raising money. So it's different from a GoFundMe because there's lots of different, red tape around business investments, et cetera. But they've raised money for huge companies. And it was like you could have invested $250 in SoftBar. And I was like, that seems like, why not? Like, here's $250, Carl. Like, go with God.
I'll take the money I would have spent in alcohol that weekend and I'll just put it towards SoftBar.
Right. And so that one I was like, oh, I really should have gotten it on SoftBar. That might have been
because you also point out they are going to open more SoftBars. There's an expansion plan.
Yeah, and so and that's what I found. I talked to a bunch of people, some who weren't. I talked to Meredith Marks. She wasn't in the article. A lot of people who didn't kind of make the cut because we had so much information.
But you said her caviar line was up by like 1,000%.
Yes, and and selling like crazy. And she's since expanded into board games and like all these different things. Yeah, DJing.
Would you ever consider an article of just the intense pressure on Bravo DJs right now?
Oh my God, everybody's DJ. Erica Jane's DJing.
Well, I just told him, because you'll probably hear this on Friday, you guys, is that on Beverly Hills on Thursday night, Mauricio reveals that he is getting into the DJ business, and his DJ name is DJ Momentum.
Momentum. Can't wait.
I mean, this is one of the most biggest industries Bravo is kind of not funding, but helping right now.
Yeah, well, because I think that part of it is, and this was Kyle saying, I talked to him a lot about the DJing, was that he and Carl used to go and do these meet and greets, and he was like, we would do them in gas stations, like they would do them anywhere that was selling Loverboy that they could. And like fans wanted to like hang out and party, and they wanted more of an event. And so the DJing is actually good because then he can show people a good time. It's not just showing up and taking a picture with him or Carl, that it's like a real kind of fun thing. And so he gets a lot of heat for the DJing and his DJing aspirations, but he really sees it as like an extension and a way to help Loverboy and a way to kind of grow the business.
Did you approach Craig Conover at all?
We did, and we talked to Craig and his PR team repeatedly, and they eventually decided not to participate.
Interesting.
In the article.
Because I think this article is, just really good. I mean, if I was Kyle reading this article, I would be thrilled, not because you kiss his ass in any sort of way. In fact, your first line of the article, you were talking about a body armor party that Kyle is DJing.
Yeah.
And these two ladies are going, is anybody here? And they're like, any celebrities? They're like, only Kyle. She said, motioning to the DJ, a 40-something so blonde, angular, and handsome, he could be the villain in a 1980s teen movie, which is brilliant.
Yeah. Like, doesn't he look like the bad guy in Karate Kid?
I started to think, I was like, this guy's going to bully me now watching the show in the 10th season, but you're like dead on right. But I mean, this really shows that Kyle is not just he is what he presents on TV, but he is truly so much more, and it kind of gives you a window into all of the work outside of the weekends we see.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the story became, was kind of like using Loverboy as a test case for like how these businesses could run. And you bring up Sewing Down South, and I think what I learned from interviewing all these people is you have to have some kind of business background and know what you're doing before you launch the product.
And he does.
Yep. You have to ask for help if and when you need it. He has Jerry, his business partner. You have to have a good product that people want to keep buying again and again, which he does. And so I think that Craig also is doing it the right way as opposed to a lot of people. And so I was surprised by that.
There seems to be a little with Craig too, is that his partners came to him.
Yes.
And I know Craig is deeply involved, but it seems like they had this idea. He loved it as well. Not slapped his name on it, say like a Sonia, but there was a little bit more of like, I've got this team of people that are doing a lot of this heavy lifting of business that I don't know, whereas Kyle seems to have built this from the ground up.
Yeah, and he will even tell you like, I made a lot of stupid mistakes. Like he talked, this isn't in the article, but during the pandemic, when Loverboy's kind of at the height of its sales and it was still kind of new, they like ran out of cans. And so he had to find cans. And then he was like importing cans from Kuala Lumpur. And then they took like forever and he spent too much money on them. And so he was saying like, yeah, especially getting into the alcohol space, there's a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of arcane systems of delivery, which is a lot different than Melissa Gorga, who just like can sell her sprinkle cookies like on the internet.
I mean, Melissa Gorga is in this article as well, and it's great because she talks about envy, obviously, and self-funding that sometimes, but then the sprinkle cookies, which is so great because this article points out sometimes the things that we make fun of them for can be one of their greatest strengths eventually.
Yeah,
Folks, as you know, in 6 short weeks, we will welcome our first child, and we're going to be so busy trying to keep this baby happy and healthy that we need to remember we need to feed ourselves. And that's where our friends at Factor come in, because they help you make eating easy, and they can make it healthy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. So you can eat well without the planning or the cooking, and it's healthy. I'm a huge fan of their ginger teriyaki salmon, their smoky barbecue chicken breast, their green chili chicken. All of those things are going to come so in handy. They use quality functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no refined seed oils. And these are meals that are going to fit your goals and your schedule. So you can even go on their website and it'll give you different categories for healthier eating, calorie management, more protein. And it's so many options. There's 100 rotating weekly meals to keep things fresh and delicious through winter. The options include high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, and ready-to-eat salads. Plus, the new Muscle Pro collection supports strength and recovery. Always fresh, never frozen, ready in about 2 minutes. No prep, no stress. So head to factormeals.com/SOBAD50OFF. Use code SOBAD50OFF. That's SOBAD50OFF to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan, 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year, while subscription is auto-renewing.
And I talked to Erin Leachy, too, about her Mezcalome and talked about when she was like, oh, when we brought Mezcal to America and like, you know, and how much fun we made of her. And she was like, yeah, I was real mad about it at first. And then she saw her web traffic and then she saw her sales. And it was like, even when they're saying something stupid. And Rebecca Minkoff's in the article taught, you know, and nobody really liked her.
Yeah.
And
it still worked for her. It still helped.
And she still sold tons of purses at more than she was selling them before.
Well, this was, I would love, and this article was probably put to bed before, but I would be so curious the web traffic on Amanda Francis right now on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Absolutely. Yes. I would love to know about that. Yeah, I would have loved to talk to Amanda Francis for this article.
Well, because I see her, she's like, oh, we're slashing prices and it's $22 for like a grab money out of the sky course.
Well, I will say that I may or may not have followed Chris and Jason from Vanderpump Rules on OnlyFans. Okay, I totally did.
Chris was in this studio talking about the OnlyFans. I mean, this is a couple episodes ago before it was like the guys are in the video too.
Yeah.
Is there incest?
There's no incest. But they will. They did send out emails like, guys, this is the video. Everyone's talking about it. Buy it now for $69. And I paid the $69. And
Brian, you paid the $69?
Brian Bailey, it's research. I'm a journalist. This is for my job.
Oh my God.
It's being written up on my taxes.
Poor Vulture. No, I mean, but I'm saying like these things that people find horrifying on the show or make fun of you on the show ends up just being great PR business.
Absolutely. And that's what, you know, everybody I talk to, it's like we spend $0 on marketing. And for a lot of startups, that's the biggest amount of money they spend things on. And so they're getting all that for free and they're making connections with audiences. And I think Erin Leachy actually said something really smart, which is, you know, use the product for yourself, use the show for yourself, like to connect with the audience, build your own following, get people to trust and believe in you, and then sell them products. It's not like going to sell the product on the show.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll see like Kyle waited to launch Loverboy, Paige waited to launch Daphne, Melissa Gorga waited to do her things. And that once you get to know these people and trust them and know them better, it's better than somebody coming on who, oh my God, who was that one? Britt Eady came on Atlanta with her stupid shapewear and couldn't throw a party. And we're all like, oh, girl, you're just here
Well,
to
sometimes
sell.
you now hear of like Housewives of Bravo celebrities rushing a product because they realize, the season's coming up and we need to throw a party for this, I need something. Even Reza and his husband, Adam, they're doing mixed nuts. They're doing like, you know, on the Valley Persian style.
Yeah.
But I was like, we love, what do we love? We love nuts. We love these kind of things. Oh, the show's coming out. up. We've always wanted to do this anyways. This is a great commercial.
Right. And I think that's totally true. But I think that the hard thing, and, you know, I talked to Kyle about this a lot. And Candy Burris has mentioned this in the past too, where you need to get like the timing right, because you're filming the show like 8-10 months, however long before it airs. And so it's like you need to be doing something on the show, but then you also need to have it available.
Well, that's what Kyle's was a great story to like follow, because his thing was, it was like, great, they got to use it on the show. Everything was great. But then once the show was airing, the products weren't in the stores.
Right.
And so it was like, but then they were able to eventually do a launch party on like season 4, season 5 in the city, and everything worked out. But it was like, because he didn't rush it, but he rushed it to make sure it was ready for season 3, the idea, right?
Yes. And so you can see them like building it on season 3. And so I think that that's hard, especially for people who are kind of new to this. Like, I mean, She by Sheree, you know, like spring, summer, September, it's joggers, you know, whatever. Like, she doesn't know what she's doing. And that's why you look at something like She by Sheree and it's like she did everything wrong. Like, she didn't know what she was doing. Yeah. She didn't ask for help. She didn't assemble a team. She didn't have a good product. I do have a pair of She by Sheree socks that are fantastic. They were $40.
That's right. I will say, like, I usually, because that's where you're like, I would buy that product because I feel bad for you.
Yes.
Which is usually not the normal consumer thought.
Yeah.
Of like, I already know this probably isn't going to be great, but I'm going to support you. But even with that, I was like, oh, this is way more expensive than I thought I was going to pay to support.
And I will say, I was very impressed by Melissa Gorga. I went to Envy, and when I was there, I was interviewing her in the store, and a literal busload of Bravo people showed up, and she was really nice to them. They were so excited to see her. But as we're sitting in her store, there are customers coming in and not looking at her twice. And so there are people there like shopping at the store because it's a good store, not because of Melissa. And so I think that that's what a lot of people say. It's like you need your brand to transcend Bravo. And the other thing I will say about Melissa Gorga, and she has not paid me to say this, the sprinkle cookies are good. The coffee cake is amazing.
I've had the sprinkle cookies. I haven't had the coffee cake. But I like the sprinkle cookies.
The coffee cake is so fucking good.
Really?
And I send it to like non-Bravo people as like a gift, and they're like, "This is the best coffee cake. Where'd you get it from?" I was like, "Girl, it's Melissa Gorga.
This is your Tom Cruise coconut cake."
Absolutely, it's so good.
But it's so weird because that's why life is so strange, and I'm sure Melissa finds it like, because this has been an out-of-the-box hit for her with the sprinkle cookies.
Yeah, absolutely.
It had $1 million in sales, you reported.
Yeah, in like 6 months.
That's insane.
And she kind of makes them to order, so it's not like she was making a bunch of sprinkle cookies and losing money on them. Yeah, and she's expanding the line and whatever. And so this is one of my favorite stories that didn't make the article was Melissa Gorga was at some kind of Bravo event with Lisa Barlow and some other housewives. And everyone's like, Melissa, sprinkle cookies, like talking about sprinkle cookies, whatever. And Lisa Barlow is like, what's up? Like, why don't you have a line of sprinkle cookies? And Melissa's like, oh, I've been working on it. I haven't been able to find the right team. I haven't been able to find the right baker. And Lisa Barlow says, I know a baker. And so Lisa Barlow introduced Melissa Gorga to some baker that
Is Lisa Barlow cut in on the profits of these sprinkle cookies?
I don't believe so, but she is responsible for getting them to market.
Wow. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa Barlow, what a kind thing for you to do. That's
know.
Amazing.
So we all question Vita Tequila, but Lisa Barlow at least knows some bakers.
Well, I mean, there's so many facts in this, and this actually brings back somebody from, OG Roni season 1 is Bethany Frankel.
Yeah.
Bethany Frankel has always talked about, I went on the show to sell my product.
Yes.
And we did see that. And we saw this kind of success story where, some people report that she made over $100 million.
Yeah.
That's not verified, but that's been reported. We are talking once again about our friends over at Mint Mobile. I got my dad set up on Mint Mobile over the holidays. It was so easy to do. But we all know there's every group, there's someone who insists on doing things the hard way. That friend still paying for a subscription that they forgot they had, or that one refusing to update their phone because it still works. I used to be that person. My family are like those people, and especially when it came to overpaying for wireless. And then I switched my dad and I'm about to switch myself to Mint Mobile, and I am so glad I did. Stop paying too much for wireless just because that's how it's always been. Mint exists purely to fix that. Same coverage, same speed, just without the inflated price tag. The premium wireless you expect, unlimited talk, text, and data, but at a fraction of what others charge. And for a limited time, get 50% off 3, 6, or 12-month plans of unlimited premium wireless. You can bring your own phone and number. We did that with my dad. You can activate with eSIM in minutes and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts, no hassle. And with a 7-day money-back guarantee and customer satisfaction ratings in the mid-90s, Mint makes it easy to try and see why people don't go back. So, are you ready to stop paying more than you have to? New customers can make the switch today, and for a limited time, get unlimited premium wireless for just $15 per month. So switch now at mintmobile.com/sobad. That's mintmobile.com/sobad. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. Additional terms apply. See mintmobile.com. Everybody knows that. So much that Bethany says there's a Bethany clause in Bravo contracts.
Yes.
She says it's called the Bethany clause. Have you ever been able to independently confirm that this is called the Bethany clause over at Bravo?
I have not, and I've talked to Bravo on the record, won't comment on contracts.
Yeah.
And I asked everybody about it. Some people said it exists. Some people said it doesn't exist. I was getting lots of conflicting reports. And so the quote from Kyle in the article is that Bravo can get like 10%, but they're also not chasing checks.
Yeah.
And Bravo did tell me that they've never...
Well, this is
even if it exists, they haven't.
I have it right here. This is so great. It says if you have a book that generates $1 million in sales and your take is $250,000 from that, then Bravo might want 10% of that. But is Bravo chasing down talent for $25,000 checks? No. Ultimately, he says, if my business isn't profitable, there's no discussion. And most beverage companies are losing money until the day they're bought. But I just also love the thought of Bravo's like, we're okay, man.
Yeah.
Like, Andy's not like, Kyle, where's my fucking 10%?
But if Kyle sells Loverboy for $1 billion,
then
you better know.
It's very similar to Lorne Michaels, that after, I think it was the Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, they started making movies where Lorne Michaels was like, everybody on SNL, I get first look at a lot of their movie deals.
Yeah.
I want a piece of this because we are launching people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars in movie ticket sales.
Yeah.
The other great thing, and this is just why you really like Kyle throughout this article, was he had an early conversation with Carl when they were starting to do the show where he goes, Kyle said to me, Carl, you interviewed him. Kyle said to me, do you know Bethany Frankel? And I was like, yeah, I mean, Skinny Girl. And he's like, exactly. This is a platform. So his whole sales pitch was like, it's not all about fucking chicks and getting drunk. There's something more here that could lend itself to a business or a personal brand.
Yeah. And so I think Kyle, and I talked, like, Kyle was selling like Cutco knives, like door to door. Like, this is like,
he was like a little entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I think that those are the people you see doing really well. Like Erin, I talked a lot about her business that failed, her handbag line that she had before going on the show, and like all the lessons that she and Abe worked at the handbag line and all the lessons they learned from that, and how they're applying that to Mezcaloom and how that's going so much better. And so you need these people who have a background in business, but then you also need the people who are exciting enough to be on reality television. And so I think it's like a hard match to have. Or you need someone like Craig, who might not be the best at business, but is great on reality television. He has great hair, and he has a great team who knows business.
And he seems so excited to be in business.
Yes.
I'm a businessman.
Right.
Like, there's like this wish fulfillment thing, even though, and he's obviously working really hard. Another thing that was great is Lindsay Hubbard, you point out, worked in PR, and she had contacts in the food and beverage space. And she was one of the ones that put Kyle in touch with people in the first place, because Kyle was like, what's what's with all these twisted teas I'm seeing
Yeah.
everywhere?
Well, yeah, Lindsay knew to get free stuff for the show because, like, when the show started and, like, none of us watched it, they made, like, 7 cents. There was no budget. They were in a cheap little house. And so Lindsay was smart enough to be like, I can at least get us free booze. And so, yeah, so she got them lots of free booze. And that's what people kept asking about. And so that's when Kyle said, oh, maybe I should make my own booze. And same with Melissa. People kept asking her, where do you get your clothes? Where do you get your clothes? And so then she was like, well, why don't I just sell people clothes? And she said even now when she posts something, herself in an outfit on Instagram, it like sells out on Envy's website.
Really?
Like, yeah. And so it's still just like, you know, she's got millions of followers now, you know, and it's like just building up that brand. And then people see it and they're like, oh, I want that, for either because they like the product, they want Melissa, they want to be like Melissa, they want to experience something Bravo. And that's why it is kind of like that QVC. You know, think about Stacey Rush and her viral YouTube clips being like, oh, this is amazing. Look at this, you know, whatever. And that's what a lot of people are doing on these Amazon Lives.
Well, I'm shocked that QVC, or like, that's another Bravo partnership. Why haven't they just done like an hour Bravo QVC where they, you know, I mean, I know at BravoCon, I was doing Peacock Lives with Bravo celebrities helping them sell their merch. I did like Angie K and Marisol and stuff like that. But I was like, it is, to your point, this is QVC, where I'm like, you could take it to the next level and give Stacey a half-hour block on Bravo with an 800 number and just have her sell like all the Bravo celebrities products.
I feel like Bravo would think that's a little down market. And I did talk to Bravo's, they have like a research team that looks at who the audience is, and it's an affluent audience. It's a little bit
over
more
$100,000. The consumer marketing is most people watching these shows are making upwards of $100,000 per household, right?
Right. Yeah. And so and I think that makes it very valuable, Bravo as a network, to advertisers. And also I talked to somebody who works in product integration for, you know, when we see Dunkin' in Summer House, for instance, or all those things. And they said that Bravo's a great partner, that they really know their brand. They know other brands. They want to find things that are going to work for brands and work for their audience, and that they really do a lot of customization around.
Wait, are
those
you
things.
telling me Heather Gay doesn't naturally shop at Wayfair for all of her furniture for her new house?
I mean, she probably do now because she get it for free. But to that example, like, I think, Bravo is like a really good partner for those brands. And because the fans are, you know, affluent and crazy, they're going to spend money on this stuff. So I think that it works both ways. And so I think that Bravo would be afraid if they were like doing QVC that they might not get the Wayfair kind of deals. That
just
they
those kitschy ideas that make my mind light up. But you're right. It would ruin the overall brand probably. Lindsay, though, it cracked me up too, is that she was like, I don't want to do no startup.
No.
She's like, I'll sell products. I want to be like, you know, Lindsay Hubbard, influencer. But she was like, I'm not going to start up anything, which cracked me up. This will not surprise anyone, but I used to wait until the very last minute to reorder my contacts. We call that the last pair of contacts panic. Or you'd be completely out and you would be stuck wearing your big ugly glasses. I mean, yours are great, but mine were ugly. Now I don't even have to worry about it because my next set is always on the way from 1-800-CONTACTS. They're the only major contact lens retailer that lets me renew my prescription online so I can get my contacts fast. 1-800-CONTACTS has fast, free shipping and delivers the same contacts my doctor prescribes right to my door, all without ever leaving my home. Now, for over 30 years, 1-800-CONTACTS has been the leader in online contact lens delivery with millions of contacts in stock and award-winning customer service. Here's what sets them apart from everyone else. They offer free, fast shipping on every order and have over 100 million contact lenses in stock, ready to ship from their distribution centers across the country. They have free returns, and exchanges mean that you can order confidently. They even offer unbeatable perks like free torn lens replacement. They also provide a way to renew your contact lens prescription from home with their online vision exam. It's called the Express Exam. It takes less than 10 minutes and gives you a doctor-issued prescription you can use to buy contact lenses. No other major retailer makes prescription renewal this easy. Their best price guarantee also means if you can find your contacts at a lower price elsewhere, they're going to beat that price. That's a promise you will not find anywhere else. They also have extra discounts for new customers on their site, and their 24/7 customer support is there if you ever need help day or night. Getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com or download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today.
Well, and there's it's kind of a companion piece to this article where I did an interview with Lindsay talking about all that stuff and just about how her transition from being like a PR person to being now kind of like a full-time influencer and reality star, and what the pitfalls of that are and what the benefits of that are. And she was really smart talking about like, okay, I know I'm pregnant. I know I can get a brand deal. I have to time this right. Like, and using the opportunities from her life in the show to kind of like optimize.
Yeah.
And so she's, Lindsay knows what she's doing. She's a smart cookie. So
yeah, and I'm so curious to see what In the City is going to be like with her and Amanda and the dissolution of their relationship.
Oh my God.
But I will say, I feel like this quote hasn't been nearly picked up. We got to push this out, you guys, because I felt this was new news in terms of Kyle and Amanda.
Yeah.
Where Kyle says, referring to him and Amanda, once we split, I formalized her equity because we had been working on a level of trust. If anything, this separation has helped clearly define her equity, meaning in Loverboy.
Yes.
So that's a huge question right now. Is even on Watch What Happens Live last night, Andy brought up that Amanda hasn't signed a prenup, and Sierra's like, get yours, girl. But it's here that that has been a discussion that has been defined by Kyle and Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely. And because there were, TikToks and things out there saying like Amanda had given back her equity or Kyle had taken it. Who knows like what they're saying. But yeah, and so right around the time of the split, I started seeing all of these kind of TikToks and Instagram things of all these people with all these numbers that I was like...
that the Loverboy was like $4 million in debt and stuff like that, which you do talk about in the article as well, where there was a production issue that caused them to make $6 million less than the year before. Yeah.
Right. But it's like, I'm hearing all these numbers. I'm like, I know this is wrong. Like, girl, get that article out. So because I know that Amanda didn't give back her equity and all this other stuff. So I talked to Kyle, after the split, shortly before this went out, to kind of clarify a bunch of things. And that was one of the things that he said, because I was like, did Amanda give back her equity? And he was like, no. In fact, this was like probably better for us.
But yeah, it's clearly defined now. Yeah. So if this does head for divorce, they already have a plan in place.
Yes, absolutely. So Amanda's going to get her chunk of Loverboy. Don't worry, guys. Yeah, but also be nice to Kyle.
Well, a lot of people are saying Loverboy is a failing business. Loverboy is not a failing business.
No.
In any sense of the word.
No, and I think that what was great about Kyle, and I think that what was great about Kyle was that he was open about, we had our stumbles, we had distribution issues, we spent too much on these stupid cans from Kuala Lumpur, whatever. I got lots more details that are in the article. But I also think it's great. Like, we saw the same thing with Whitney Rose, where she's like, my business failed.
My business has completely failed. Yeah. And then we applauded her for her honesty.
No, absolutely. And I think that that's so much more interesting and so much more relatable and so much more real than being like, I don't owe money to anybody, like Lisa Barlow, and just like tried to deny it into existence.
Just make up poster boards and
right.
say you're
dismissed. Yeah, no, girl.
Is there any? We've seen so many times when it hasn't worked. Like we've talked about a little bit about, these are really great examples of things that are working. But for every Loverboy, it feels like there's so many things that you just hear about one season, they go away, or even like Whitney with the, whatever happened with the Alibaba thing. We didn't really go into why the business failed. There was an MLM portion of it. There are so many different things, but Bravo doesn't do truly any vetting on the businesses that are talked about on screen.
No, as far as I know. And so they're just following it. And in fact, when everybody I talked to was like, we filmed things for the business that they didn't use. I wish they had done more of this, and I think that's the one hard thing, is that they don't have any final say in what makes it on air or not.
Yeah.
And so, that Bravo controls all that. But I think on the other side, Bravo's also showing us, like, remember when She Buys Sheree's clothes didn't show up, or, the fashion show with no fashion, how dreadful, and I think that, because either way, it's good for Bravo. If it fails, it's great TV, like Britt Eadie's terrible launch party.
Yeah.
And if it succeeds, then it makes Bravo look great. And
either
that they
way,
can launch these products.
it's fine.
Right.
Rachel Zoe is on this new season, and it's been nice to see her again. But I was wondering too, because Rachel Zoe, I think it was last episode or the episode before, like had a gift bag of all Rachel Zoe goodies,
Yep.
and we know she's in a lot of different areas of business. I was also, the divorce is a part of this with Roger this season, and I was wondering too, is this a part of the reason they were able to land Rachel Zoe on this season, because she knew she was in a tentative position with her husband, and it's like, I'm doing good, but we need to make sure I'm fully set up. Is that where people like, old legends of the past are coming back because they need a little juice at that moment?
No, I think that absolutely. And I mean, it's definitely so Rebecca Minkoff mentioned that as soon as they announced she was going to be on Housewives, she started getting more press profiles, more attention, more people wanting to talk about her, as well as better sales. And so for a brand of hers, like her brand awareness is up astronomically just from being on The Real Housewives. And so I think for someone like Rachel Zoe, we know who she is, but we're being reintroduced to her. Fans already love her.
It's a win-win.
At BravoCon, before she was even on the show, everyone was applauding her. Yeah, and so it's great. And I think that we do have a lot of goodwill towards these people and are interested in their products, even ones like Rebecca Minkoff, who we might not even like.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not going to see her again on Bravo.
Right.
You also brought up Crystal Minkoff from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and this was interesting because she was at Vita Coco or
I think it's Real Coco.
Real Coco. Sorry, Crystal.
Yeah.
Sorry. Happy birthday, Crystal. It's your birthday today. This was interesting too, is that she didn't want to feature the product on the show. It was already successful. She didn't want to feature on it because she didn't know if it would be a good representation for the product.
Yeah, no, and she was like, I need to protect my business just in case this goes south, because look at how many housewives we've seen where they get on the show and they're depicted terribly.
Well, because Loverboy also, even if you dislike Kyle, it's a brand about, the brand is party.
Yeah, right. And I don't drink alcohol, but from what I understand, it's good.
Yeah.
And so I think that, and Kyle told a story about they were driving out to the Hamptons to film Loverboy. He and Amanda stop at some store, and there's some guy buying Loverboy at the cash register in front of him, and Kyle's like, "Oh, Loverboy," and the guy's like, "Yeah, I love this stuff." And so there's Kyle in the Hamptons talking about Loverboy, and this guy had no idea who he was, but was like, "I love this." And I talked about how
Kyle's nipples immediately got hard.
Oh my god, all of them got
Amanda,
hard.
You don't even know, man. It's like, just get in the car, Kyle.
Yeah. Oh, Kyle, shut up. But I talked about how Bravo fans are the ones who want to recommend things to their friends, and so it's like you see Loverboy on the show, so you buy it, you try it, it's good, you bring it to a barbecue, you tell your friends try this, and that's how. And Bravo fans are kind of uniquely positioned to kind of drive those products out there.
I remember seeing Vanderpump Rosé for the first time at Costco, and I was like, wow, she did it.
She did it.
Costco. It's like, that's great.
Yeah.
Is there any missed opportunities that you've seen with any of these ladies where you're like, God, if I was her at that moment, I would have done this?
Oh my God. There's a few products. Like Andy always talks about Leanne Lockin's infinity dress, which was like a dress you could wear a bunch of different ways. And he was shocked that didn't take off. Larsa Pippen has the Larsa light, which is like,
oh yeah, she talked about that on the show.
Yeah,
right?
like a light for your cell phone.
Yeah.
That I'm like, how is that not how is everyone not talking about their Larsa light? To take good selfies with you? I think that's great. But yeah, I think everybody that Melissa didn't make sprinkle cookies until
I know
this deep into her journey is crazy.
God put her in the right place at the right time to have it this. And it's so funny because you even have a quote in there of Teresa saying she likes the cookies.
Yeah. She said,
that's very big of her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she took the tiniest bite on TikTok. It was like, they're delicious. Teresa, begrudging the whole way.
Roll cameras, please.
Yeah.
New season going.
Spits it out as soon as the camera's off her. Yeah.
I was thinking, I was just rewatching that Jersey season where Joey and Joe Giudice got into a fight, and Joe, it was when he still had hair.
Yeah.
And you hit him, and he's like, "What's all this fucking shit on me?" And it was his
Oh
hairspray
my God,
that got all
amazing.
over him. And I was like, man, the Joey Gorga hairspray system would have been amazing.
No, and I think that is also another thing that's important, is having these brands that are part of their personality or their character, like Paige and sleepwear. Yeah, like
because you associate with bed bugs.
Right.
Paige is in bed.
Yes, and so you have all, like, why did Gina Kirschenheiter have a skincare line? That failed.
Because it was never like, I hate your hair so much, but God, your skin looks great.
Right. Yes. It's like you're not known for, and that's why, like, Meredith Marks bath bombs make sense.
Or even Meredith Marks caviar, in a sense, makes sense to me.
In that, right. I'm Meredith Marks and I'm so rich. And
Meredith Marks DJ is a little bit of a, but that's where I like the kitschy element. It's like there's like a Twin Peaks eerie, weird vibe where you're like, this doesn't make sense at all, but I think I'd like to see it once.
Yes. And I think that what Bravo fans really want is for the shows to come into their real life. And whether that is going to see Countess Luann, who we know can't sing, going to see DJ Meredith Marks, who we know can't DJ, or buying a Karen Huger 3-wick candle, or drinking Loverboy, or whatever. So it's like either those experiences or those products, and we are like making the shows like our real life.
Dude, Brian, you gotta. Now I'm like, you gotta get Rolling Stone, if they were still a magazine. You gotta get them involved and go on tour with each one of these DJs. And this is like you're almost famous. This is like you're a little older than the kid, but you're just on the road. And Meredith Marks is like, the thing about DJing, Brian, you like just really hunker down. Okay, can I ask you a little bit about shows and things like right now?
Of course.
Okay, let's get into, you mentioned Karen Huger and 3-wick candles.
Yes.
We had the sit-down interview with her and Andy Cohen in the dead of night.
Yes.
So
with the fake fire,
they can escape all the paparazzi waiting for Andy to show up in the dead of night. He was there, and I thought, he conducted it well. I thought it was very interesting. Personally, I thought it was wild to watch within that 50 minutes, still having a hard time saying the word alcoholic. She was much more able to say with pills and that kind of thing. But alcoholism, she towards the end, she started being more open to it, but you could see the resistance. Did you feel that way?
No, absolutely. And that's what I thought. Andy did such a great job. And so I remember reading in his memoir where he talked about, like, when he was a news producer, like behind the camera, and they were going to interview Tammy Faye Baker and how excited he was and being behind the scenes. And now, like, Andy's the one doing this, like, kind of all-star interview. And so I think it was a full circle moment for him. And he really pushed Karen, whether it was, are you wearing beige? Are you an alcoholic? Why are you leading NA meetings?
What also, like, Andy, I wouldn't drive drunk. Well, you've done it 4 times.
Yes.
But in a kind, loving way, he said that gently.
No, and I think he was great. And he gave her every opportunity. He opened the door so many times to take accountability, say, yes, I'm an alcoholic, whatever. And she just couldn't. And it was and she's saying, oh, I took these pills. I can't say what pills it are because I'll get sued, which no one believes Karen Huger. And I mean, like, Craig talked about being addicted to Adderall, and like Adderall hasn't sued him. So I don't know how you think you're different. And so it was just shocking to me. And I think that, we talk a lot now about how these shows have become almost true crime shows because it's like Wendy and Eddie, Erica Jane, Jen Shaw, Karen, all these things. And for the people to come back on the show, they need to take accountability and say what they did. And Karen still can't say, yeah, I had 4 DUIs. And so has she done enough to get back on Real Housewives of Potomac? I mean, I don't know.
I thought it was interesting. She did say, well, I don't know if I do deserve this platform. She didn't say, oh, of course I'm going to be back. She said, I don't know, because that really is in the eye of the beholder. It's going to be, I will say I did get chills with the moment that they show from the reunion where it's like, you're doing too much, professor. Shut the fuck up. And I thought, she's like, I've been there. And you see I don't know if it's like correct editing, but you see like the tear going down Dr. Wendy's face. That was like, I was like, woo, Karen, without missing a beat.
No, and I do think it's like great, great to see Karen, who's literally been to prison, tell her, like, tell somebody, you should take the plea deal. I wish I had, and what a unique situation we're in where we can have 2, potential felons on the same cast. We can talk about it.
We're already picking back up cameras to get a Karen Huger interview. Fuck, we got to do one for Dr. Wendy too?
Yeah.
That happened too, and I mean, it's heartbreaking in a sense because Dr. Wendy, when we first, there was like the 3-week candle with Karen, like competing candle lines.
Yeah.
And there is this thing of like all of these businesses, but also what is behind a business. It's desire for money. It's a desire for, and you see this with Dr. Wendy, and we don't know all the facts, even though I've read a lot of the court documents.
Yeah.
That's the heartbreaking part where it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you want all this money to look better on Bravo? Did you want all this money because it's always been a thing? Because you're a professor, you're on the news, you're all of these things, but it wasn't enough. And I think that's the interesting thing with any of these businesses of like the why. Why do you want to do this?
Well, and I think that's always the thing about these stories. Like, I always think about the White House party crashers, right? Where, there were 3 people who crashed the White House, the Salahis, who were on Real Housewives of DC, and some other guy who we never heard of again. But they went after the Salahis because they dared to be on a reality show. And so it's like, what we always want to know is, how much is it the show? Like, how much was what Tom Girardi was doing for Erica to be on the show? How much of what Wendy was doing was for the show? And so how much was Jen Shaw doing it for the show? Like, so that they could, it's the chicken or the egg. And I think that's the question that we really need to answer. And if it's for the show with like Dr. Wendy, that's like sad.
How's that worth it to eventually wind up in possibility of jail? Like how would that ever be worth it? You have kids. We see your kids. We see all of these, you're a good family, and it's like doing these things don't make you insanely bad people. But there is something, if you're presenting a certain way of living life and ethics and morals, it brushes right up against that where you can't be a reliable narrator on these shows anymore.
And I think that's like what I really saw in this past Salt Lake reunion was there's the Whitney Rose way of doing it and the Lisa Barlow way. And the Whitney Rose way is saying, my business failed, my marriage is in trouble, I'm having a hard time. And the Lisa Barlow way is, everything is great, everything is great, everything is great. And so it's like, I
got 2 horses, 8 Porsches.
Right. So you see someone like Gina Kirschenheiter who's like, I got divorced, I have no money, I live in a shitty house, and my hair is terrible.
Slowly build, like a normal person, slowly building something.
And then you have somebody like Dr. Wendy who's like, everything is perfect, I have so much money, the business is going great, whatever. And it's never the Ginas and the Whitneys who end up getting in trouble. It's the Wendys and the Lisa Barlows.
Oh man, when they were at Kemosabe and they were all like putting out like, oh, I bought this and I bought this, and they went to Wendy and I was like, no, and she only bought like $250 something. But I was like, it was a real moment of like, and as an audience member, you're like, this is great. I was like tense. I was like, oh no, did she buy like $8,000 worth of stuff?
Yeah. Well, and I really, in that moment, I have never really identified with Stacey Russ, but when she was like, I didn't buy anything because I'm poor. Yeah. And I was like, that would be me. I'm like way too frugal. Yeah.
It's the only time Stacey doesn't lie on that show.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
And I say lie as a compliment. I love Stacey. The Beverly Hills, I will say it's not a return to opulence, but I do notice this season there's a lot more price tags that'll pop up. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah. And I don't know if that's in lieu of actual storylines that the audience cares about. And I'm trying, being nice. But there's a lot of that. And with Dorit's always so interesting to me because the season started with her going over to Bose's and giving her a $2,000 scarf. And, I think Bravo audiences now have so many examples of being worried for some of their favorite Bravo celebrities that in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's not good. Where do we know, and like,
100%.
And you're in the book business, like she gets a book advance and then she comes with a tiny mini Kelly $11,000 purse. I mean, I know Dorit's a very popular housewife, but what kind of book advance can these people or somebody like Dorit make?
If Dorit bought that bag with her book advance, she spent the whole book advance. Because also the way it works, if she's using a ghostwriter, is the deal is between Dorit and the ghostwriter. And so the ghostwriter will get half their money at the beginning and half when they turn in the book. And so their money is coming out of Dorit's money. And people aren't getting that big book deals. I don't know that people want to buy Dorit's book. So I'm skeptical about
so now
that
we
money.
Put these things in this filing cabinet in our head of like, well, I'm going to check back in with that next year because like the PK, there's all the weird financial stuff. And Dorit's storyline is once again to be mad at Amanda Francis and mad at Kyle. And I'm like, well, but how? I still have no concept of what your day-to-day life looks like.
Absolutely. Because she's a Lisa Barlow. It's fine. Don't, until it's not. Like, PK and I are better than ever.
Yeah.
And that, we filed for divorce. Oops.
He doesn't want to see his kids.
Yeah. And so, but I think that, as a human, I don't want Dorit's divorce to be very contentious and go to the court. As a scholar of the reality television arts and sciences, I do because I want the financials.
Yeah.
So I want all of us in this Bravo community to comb through, see where the money is, see where the debts are.
Allegedly, and I think we have actually more documents than you don't have to say alleged, that also PK had enjoyed gambling at one time, and there was owing money to a casino, which I think is all good now. But these were like big dollar amounts. And listen, I love Culture Club. I love Boy George. But at the same time, this isn't, the 80s, so I'm just like, how much is Boy George bringing in 2026? I mean, it's probably a decent sum, but it can't be everything.
Well, and I feel like Boy George is bringing in a lot of money that PK probably never touches in residuals on songs like Karma Chameleon that he wrote.
Yeah.
Not because Boy George is like on tour and people are paying Taylor Swift amounts of money to go see him. So, yeah. And that my joke is always like, if a house husband cannot explain his job in 3 words, he's a crook. So it's like, what is Joe Bonino? He's a plumber. Done. Got it.
Yeah,
what does Joe Gorga do? Well, I shouldn't say a crook. I shouldn't say a crook. But it's all like PK's another one. Like he manages Boy George girl, and you live in that house.
He was at a Grammys party. I saw him post something. So it was like, I love primary wave management. Worked with many of their artists, Def Leppard, John Mellencamp. But of course, like as you get older, you don't know how to use social media. Like he didn't know how to tag anybody in the post, and it was like a sloppy picture. And I was like, oh, PK. But I don't want, it is weird. Like it is still in this kind of weird mystery where it's like they're together and now they're not together. She says horrible father and but Kyle's the problem, not PK. And Kyle and Mauricio are like, Mauricio's like, well, PK is telling me something completely different.
Right.
Like he's
which
a good
of course he is.
Yeah.
But and I feel like, the truth's probably somewhere in the middle. But I feel my favorite part was when Mo kind of storms their lunch and Dorit brings up this idea of talking about him. He's like, I'll listen to you for as long as you want, uninterrupted, and I won't judge you. And I was like, that's all that Dorit has ever wanted from a man.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you better clear the next 18 weeks in your schedule for Dorit.
I love the fact that she didn't have his number. So many stupid jokes and rumors that they were like knocking boots for so long. She didn't even have his number.
I mean, the darkest part of me would love that if that were true.
But,
I don't think it is.
No, but to your point, it was like, Dorit, Kyle won't listen to Dorit. Kyle was even fine of Mo, you take her.
Yeah, right.
That's your penance for...
right, I don't even want to get in the middle of this anymore.
Okay, so this week we also, even though this has been rumored for a second, but we got the official announcement that the Roni stars, Jill Zarin, Countess Luann, Kelly Ben-Simone, Ramona, and Sonia, and maybe Ramona said a 6th person, but I don't know if she just kind of mistake, but it's called The Golden Life, and E! has officially greenlit this. It's by a production company that Bravo's never worked with, so it's going to be different from a Bravo-type show, but it's going to be 10 episodes. What did you think about this?
I am very skeptical.
Yeah.
In that we have seen Vanderpump Villa. We have seen Maurizio's real estate show. What was that? Buying Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
I would not consider them shows of quality. And I think that you can't be overstated how much Bravo puts into developing these shows, making these shows great. If you read my book, the process of notes, everybody is like, they're worse than anybody. And that's what makes these great shows. And I have a lot of trust in Bravo to really get these projects in a position for them to be great. And so that it's a production company they've never worked with, that it's on E!, which is now no longer a corporate sister of Bravo since they spun it off with all the other cable channels.
Versant,
yes. Makes me very skeptical of what the quality of the show is going to be like. But I mean, I love all of these girls. I'm glad they're going to be back on their television. I feel like if the OGs are on TV, it might let fans shut up about the Roni reboot enough that we might like it or give it a chance. Not that the last season was that great. But so I'm having very conflicted feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I do have thought too is that to your point with Bravo really taking time with development and really kind of putting it through its paces, I heard a couple of people say, oh, they dragged their feet too long and now E's got them. And I would argue that maybe that's not the case, is that maybe Bravo is kind of aware and they've really not even run the numbers, but run through the scenarios because, we had Sonia and Luann do Crappy Lake.
Yeah.
We did have an Ultimate Girls Trip with a lot of these women already
that
a lot of people didn't show up for in terms of viewership.
Yeah.
And also it's like, you can only get OG Roni we can never get that again.
No. And I will say, like, they did have that Roni girls trip, but that was kind of like, we want the girls in their real life, like a bit more like Housewives. And so I think this is more like that. But to your point, I would venture to guess if they have put this show together, Bravo has seen the pitch. Yeah. And if Bravo isn't doing it, then there's a reason why Bravo is not doing it, and E is.
And I agree. And I think this is a huge boon for E, which I think needs something. Like, this is splashy, and I would argue that maybe they even rushed this announcement to be on the heels of the Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip 20th anniversary, right?
Absolutely. But even looking at the girls' kind of announcement, that video all stitched together, it's like, imagine if that was Bravo. Like, it would have been shiny. It would have been pretty.
Had 30 TikToks ready, like, surprise, we're back. Yeah.
Right. Like, it would have been a very different rollout with Bravo. And so...
Yeah, you get the sense that Jill Zarin's texting the ladies, going like, I just need you to say this one thing. I'll stitch it together in a clip. I just need you to...
Right. I'll get Allie.
Allie's a wonderkind on the editing.
Oh, Allie's great on TikTok. So I am very curious about that. But I mean, I do want these ladies on television. And so I did an interview. It's going to be in my newsletter on Friday with Captain Jason and Daisy from...
they were just here last week. They're great. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I asked them, like, what other housewives would you want to be on the boat? And Daisy's on a Roni journey starting from the beginning. And she was like, I would love it if the OGs would come on the boat. And it's like, that's like, Bravo can still use these gals.
That would be
in great ways,
actually.
Right? That like aren't on the show.
And also, this isn't going to be in Roni. This is going to be in Florida.
Right.
We just had members only Palm Beach on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which I felt like I was like on an acid trip the entire time, and I'm like, so is this like that? Like, is this going to be them trying to be into that kind of that social circle of Palm Beach?
I would guess, because they all live down there now. Jill's in Boca. Ramona's in Palm Beach. Sonia's in West Palm Beach. Luann's probably staying with one of them. I don't know what Kelly Ben-Simone's going to do, but she's probably going to get a tent on the beach somewhere and just call it a mansion. But yeah, so, and I will be interested to see them like in their habitat and in their milieu. But
in terms of intellectual property, are they allowed to, I wonder, refer to Scary Island? Or are they allowed to refer? Because, they're not going to be able to show clips or anything like that. Do they own personal IP?
I know they don't own personal IP, and they definitely won't have, like, if it was on Bravo, they'd be like, you'd get flashbacks to the Berserkshires, you'd get like
15 minutes flashbacks.
Yeah, all that stuff, which we won't have. And so can they say Scary Island? Like, probably, but like, we're not going to see any of that old stuff. They probably can't talk about it too much. So yeah, I think we're going to...
And Dorinda's not in this because she has her own show.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the Bluestone Manor show, which I think everybody was like, oh, that's breaking news. That's not breaking news. That was like a Deadline article in 2024 that they were developing a Bluestone Manor show, kind of like Vanderpump Villa. And my personal belief is that we saw the pictures, Ultimate Girls Trip Road Trip, ended at Bluestone Manor, which if I were them, I'd make that a backdoor pilot or a backdoor first episode of the show,
No, absolutely. And I think that's, again, like, I don't know that we need the story to be the group anymore. Like, I think Dorinda is great in that Lisa Vanderpump position where she shows up, she yells at the staff, and then the show, and then...
But she can't drink. She's like the boss. She's not going to be out in drunk moments. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
But the majority of the show is the cast, on the new Vanderpump Rules or whatever. And so, and I mean, I think these are greats, and we want to see them, and I think that they still have a lot to give, but I don't know that it's on their own show.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting, and that's going to be done by the end of 2026, they're saying, but it'll be great to hear leaks from that. Quickly, too, you wrote about the Traitors. How are you feeling at this moment before Thursday night's episode?
I'm very excited. I interviewed Lisa Rinna yesterday.
You know what I got to tell you? I so hated her on that last season of Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Like, and I had started off, but I mean, and people know that I made so much fun of her on the, but I got to tell you, I loved her on the, I didn't think she was great at the game, but I loved her on the Traitors. That's why this show works, because I appreciate people that I had opinions from already because of Bravo or their celebrity.
No, and I think same with Candace. Like, she got on my nerves so hard her last few seasons, where she's making fun of people's bodies and just being like, couldn't get over anything. And then you see them on the Traitors and you see all the things you love about them. Same with Dorinda. Like, she's not getting wasted. She's not being mean. She's not bullying anyone off the show. And I'm like, Dorinda's great. So I do think it's a way. Same thing with Phaedra. Like, it's a way
for... Oh, God, Phaedra was so good on season 2. Yeah.
Right. Them, like, to get reintroduced. And when I talked to Lisa, she just kept saying, like, it was a game, and like, I was having fun and I was playing, and it was bringing out a new thing of me. And, her last season on Housewives was right after her mom died, and she was like going through a lot. And and so I think it's a great introduction. I mean, I love the Traitors. I live in the UK most of the time. We just had The Traitors.
The celebrity one, too.
Yeah, the celebrity one was great. And so my husband and I said we were both going to apply to the Traitors, but he was going to apply to UK and I was going to apply to US. We'll see.
Did you apply? Well,
I have to make a tape, but yeah, I'll do it.
Don't accidentally send them the Chris and Jason video from OnlyFans.
No,
this is my tape.
That is in my personal library. But I love the Traitors. I think it's so great, and I watch like Survivor and Big Brother, and like all. So it's like everyone. I know everybody, and I'm just happy to see them on my TV screen.
Big Brother is such a blind spot, but like I end up like then studying them, where I'm like, that's great too, because I'm like, I got to start watching Big Brother, or because I knew all the Survivor players. And I'm so excited for Survivor 50, which is like pretty soon, you guys.
Yeah.
But that show does make you kind of reappreciate, or, I mean, obviously interesting too, because it can go the other way of like Colton and what he's going through right now.
Yes.
Or, Michael Rappaport. Michael Rappaport was pretty Michael Rappaport.
Yes.
But it is interesting when a new audience gets a hold of something and they're like, who the F is this guy?
Yes.
In terms of Michael. And then parasocially, we're all arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Well, what I love about Traitors is, like, for my friends and family who don't watch Housewives, but they watch Big Brother, they watch Survivor. It's like my, nephew's a big Survivor fan. He loves Jam Jam. And I'm like, oh, you should watch The Traitors. He's on. And then you like introduce them to the Housewives. And then it's like, oh, you like Dorinda? Maybe you should watch Roni. She was great on Roni.
It's like,
and then
I talking Jason and Daisy of Below Deck. It's like the feeder into Bravo for like usually straight men. You can get them on Below Deck or like Summer House if they're like a real boozy episode.
Something with guys in it.
Yeah. They're like, this is fucking straight as hell. I love this. You know? Like, and then you can kind of test the waters into those things because you're like, oh, Lisa Rinna was great on Traitors. The other thing I loved about Lisa as we wind down here is that she, you could tell, maybe I'm reading, you could tell she needed this. And I don't mean her, but you could tell that reading between the lines, whether she chose to leave Beverly Hills or it was a mutual decision to leave Beverly Hills, you could tell it scarred her in some way.
Yes.
And that even when she was crying after she got kicked out, she seemed so thankful for the experience.
No, absolutely. And I talked to Lisa about that, and kind of at the end of her interview was like, I had so much fun. I'm like back on TV. I discovered something new about myself. And she was like, I won. Like, even though I didn't make it to the end, like I won. And I think that that's really great to watch. And that's the like fun part of Lisa Rinna that we all loved when she started on the show that like we forgot as she got kind of darker and darker and deeper into it. And so I would like to think this is opening the door to Lisa being in some other reality television shows.
I'm curious because, she made that decision not to go to BravoCon, even though her book is coming out soon. And she will still slag the Housewives. And so it's like kind of this slow thawing that's potentially going to happen. But I think people throwing love your way is never going to get old.
No, absolutely. And I mean, if this means that Lisa is on other shows for celebrities, I mean, I think that's great. But yeah, I asked her if she would ever go to BravoCon. She was like, no. I was like, if they did all Housewives Traitors, would you ban it? She's like, no, I don't want to be around those women.
Well, it's good. So, it's like being a drug addict and then like, I can't go hang out with all the people I used to do drugs with.
Absolutely correct. But I mean, oh my God, I would love an All Housewives season. The other thing I would love is if Andy Cohen were to, get
On
from behind the camera and be like on the Traitors.
That's my dream, Traitors, because I have this theory be out immediately. Well, but like also it would just be great to see how his, like the people that you don't know how they operate behind the scenes.
Yes.
Like I'd love to see Kris Jenner on the Traitors.
Oh my God.
Because I don't know, Kris Jenner is one of the savviest business people out there, but the Kris Jenner we see is not the Kris Jenner that actually does business.
No, and that's what I always say about Jeff Probst. Like I wanted Jeff Probst to be on Survivor 50 because you're always like,
yes,
come and apply. It's like, well, Jeff. Yeah, get your ass out there in the fucking poison ivy eating bugs.
Out after the third day.
Yeah, he's like,
I can't do it. I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh God! Now I just love that I give you like job. You got to write a book on Survivor, man. That would be awesome. This is Friday when we release this, you guys. So if you sign up for the Housewives Bulletin, you'll be able to read that Lisa Rinna interview, right?
Yeah. Well, that should be on Vulture.com. Yeah, it's going up on Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
So that should be up there now, so you can read that. And then in my newsletter will be the interview with Jason and Daisy from Below Deck, and then some other fun things. We always do like the news and
yeah. I mean, you
whatever.
break down like all of the quick hits and things that have happened on top of articles and stuff. Like I subscribe to Vulture, but you get like New York Mag, you get all of these things with it. So it's like, I think only a couple bucks a month. And it's always like, I always find so many other things to read, even besides like Vulture,
And the newsletter's free. So
yeah, you don't even have to pay anything for that.
Yeah.
And then the Inc. article, we just hit like the tip of the iceberg. There's so much detailed information that you will get a clear sense of at least how Loverboy operates, which I think is very eye-opening, but it's a walk through memory lane, which, oh my God, wasn't it so great to see Alex McCord in New York?
Oh my God, she looks so good still.
And like happy, like not rotting from inside. Like, it's like, wow, stepping away from all of this. Cause I'm going back and doing a rewatch of Ronia. I'm at season 2 and it was like her and Simon.
Yeah.
And you just realize at the end of the day, it's like, when I watched that originally, I made so much fun of them. And now I'm just like, God, there's somebody out there for everybody. And that you're like, just let your freak flag fly. And that like you get too lost in the sauce.
They're still together.
They're still together. They're 2 kids.
Yeah.
And she's proud of, I heard them on Radio Andy. She's proud of her kids. And I was like, you just sound like a really happy mom that went back to school and got another degree.
And it's like she got the reality TV like out of her system. Yeah. And so I'm curious to see, like, we'll never see that Ultimate Girls Trip that didn't air that she was on, but I'm curious to see what little we can of her on Ultimate Girls Trip, just to kind of see, like, what it's like on the other side for someone like Alex McCord.
Yeah. And that there is a life on the other side.
Yeah.
And I forgot which housewife, but they had Alex McCord in it, and it's like, they face-tuned her so hard where I was like, she's already looks great. You made her look like a completely different person. And she's like already amazing looking. Brian Moylan, thank you so much for coming in.
Bailey,
This was huge.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.